Coming to America. Released on June 1988, this romantic R-rated comedy depicts the story of an African prince who has his every wish granted and his every whim catered to. A string orchestra awakens him every morning, and wherever he goes, luscious beauties scatter rose petals in his path. These same beauties bathe him, dress him, and perform even more intimate duties. At 21, he's never even tied his own shoes. The protagonist, played by Eddie Murphy, is the fictional Prince Akeem, sole heir of the throne of the also fictional African kingdom of Zamunda. The film also co-stars Arsenio Hall, James Earl Jones, Sherry Headley, and John Amos. A little bit of history as a side note.
Okay.
There are currently only 3 monarchies in Africa. 2 are constitutional and 1 is absolute. Meaning, of the 3, only 1, the absolute, holds supreme autocratic authority over the nation, while the other 2, the constitutional ones, just like their European counterparts, are today bound by laws and legislation, making them more symbolic and influential than powerful in a dictatorial way. But back to the fantasy loosely based on reality. In spite of all the fringe benefits, the young prince rejects the life of pampered luxury and moves out of the palace. Sounds familiar? And this includes leaving behind the stunningly handsome but subservient young woman who has been selected to be his bride.
So,
Ever since I was born, I've been trained to serve you.
yes, I know this. But I would like to know about you. What do you like to do?
Whatever you like,
What kind of music do you like?
whatever kind of music you like.
Look, I know what I like. And I know you know what I like because you were trained to know what I like. But I would like to know what you like. For instance, do you have a favorite food?
Yes,
Good! What is your favorite food?
whatever food you like.
Instead, he says, he wants a woman who, quote, arouses my intellect as well as my loins. End of quote. And where will he find such a woman? The United States of America. And where in the United States can they find a woman fit for a king? Queens.
This shit enough for you.
Yes, this is perfect.
The story was originally written by Eddie Murphy, although a little detail about that later. But in the hands of a filmmaker with some sensibility or feel for atmosphere, Coming to America might have been an appealing comic fable, a sort of Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court, in reverse. Yet neither director John Landis, who previously directed Eddie Murphy on the comedy hit Trading Places in 1983, and who also directed Michael Jackson's Thriller video that same year, nor the scriptwriters, wrote the script as the story was originally written by Eddie Murphy. In fact, Eddie Murphy spoke horribly of his experience with director Landis and vice versa. Who was truly capricious and frustrating? Only those on set may know. However, despite the alleged experience, Landis and Murphy collaborated again 6 years later in 1994 on Beverly Hills Cop 3. This role presented a softer side of Murphy, and it could be said that it is the first film where we see Murphy, in essence, not playing himself. But playing a convincing romantic lead may have been beyond Murphy at the time. In pursuing his queen, Murphy is slightly more comical and businesslike than dramatic, which works perfectly for a comedy. Murphy and Hall are also transformed by makeup wizard Rick Baker to play 4 smaller yet memorable parts, including an elderly Jewish man.
Young guy named Eddie Murphy.
Oh, Christ, I hate it. The kid with the filthy mouth. Oh, he's the voice. He's the voice. He can't act. There's a filthy mouth. And the other
Eddie Murphy.
I'm Eddie Murphy. I am the young black movie star. She's
We saw similar transformations years later when Robert Downey Jr. played Kirk Lazarus in the comedy Tropic Thunder, Lazarus being the best character in that film in my opinion. We also saw it with the Wayne brothers in White Chicks, Robin Williams in Miss Doubtfire, Martin Lawrence playing Big Mama, etc. It was also the start of Murphy, playing multiple characters in one scene. For this was also done when Murphy started in the 1996 remake of the 1963 film the Nutty Professor. Anyhow, beginning their search for Akeem's bride, they end up being invited by locals to a rally that is raising money for the city. During the rally, Akeem encounters Lisa McDowell, who possesses all the qualities he's looking for, and upon his insistence, he and Semi get entry-level jobs working at the local fast food restaurant called McDowell's, a McDonald's knockoff owned by widower Cleo McDowell, Lisa's father.
Mr. McDowell!
What is it?
Sir, I was wondering, did you happen to catch the professional football contest on television last night?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was most exhilarating. The Giants of New York took on the Packers of Green Bay. And in the end, the Giants triumphed by kicking an oblong ball made of pigskin to a big 8. It was a most gripping victory.
Son, I'm just gonna tell you this one time. You wanna keep working here, stay off the drugs.
Akeem's efforts to win Lisa's love are complicated by Lisa's lazy and obnoxious boyfriend, Daryl, whose father owns Soul Glow, a Jerry Curl-like hair product.
You can be all the things you've always wanted to be. Beautiful, sexy, easy as 1, 2, 3.
Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul glow, baby. Feeling oh so silky smooth. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul glow.
Can we discuss her voice?
I've never heard that song before.
But you felt it.
Oh my god.
I'm like still crying.
I love her.
After Daryl announces their engagement without Lisa's consent to their families, she starts dating Akeem, who claims to come from a family of poor goat herders, and the story goes on from there. The movie was a commercial success, both domestically and worldwide. In fact, although blaxploitation films of the 1970s had generated some following in Japan, Coming to America was the first movie with a black protagonist and a black cast to be a true success in Japan. Why? Mainly because American comedies, and most black films being comedies, do not do as well abroad as they do domestically. The movie made approximately $128 million in the United States and ended up with a worldwide total of $288 million, making it the highest earning film that year for Paramount Studios and the third highest grossing film at the United States box office. The film was also nominated for 2 Oscars, Best Costume Design and Best Makeup. Oh, and as stated earlier in regards to who truly wrote the story, in 1990 the film was subject to a civil suit filed by humorist Art Buchwald against the film's producers on the grounds that the film's idea was stolen from his 1982 script treatment about a rich, despotic African potente who comes to America for a state visit. Paramount had optioned the treatment from Buchwald, and John Landis was attached as director and Eddie Murphy as the lead. But after 2 years of development hell, Paramount abandoned the project in March 1985. Yet only 2 years later, in 1987, Paramount began working on Coming to America, allegedly based on a story by Eddie Murphy, which in reality sounds extremely similar to the story written by Buchwald. In fact, Buchwald won the breach of contract action, and the court ordered monetary damages. The parties later settled the case out of court before an appeal going to trial.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Where did the idea for Coming to America come from?
Where did the idea for Coming to America come from?
It was first called The Quest, and it was Eddie's idea.
It was God.
I lied.
Describe each other in one word. You by saying Eddie is, and Eddie by saying Arsenio is.
Giving.
Taking.